Habara Gani.
Habara Gani.
Habara Gani. And
what's the news?
The news today is, I think for our video today, we've been seeing these wonderful items in this collection that you've gathered, but we don't know enough about what's going on here.
Okay.
And we know how important story is to Kwanzaa and to the celebration of the culture. But we don't know about, folks don't know about Nubi. The folks don't know about this beautiful cane here and some of the other items that you brought. So I thought for today's video, perhaps you could share your story with us through your collection of wonderful things. Would you mind doing that?
I'm blessed.
Well, let's do it.
Thank you, Brian.
My pleasure.
This is actually my touring museum. And I had went, and as I was younger, I was stronger and able to carry these heavy books and the artifacts and so forth around to schools and museums and churches and teach about the African-American heritage and culture. And that's what Kwanzaa is really about.
Absolutely.
And we've been teaching about the Nguzo Saba. That's the main attraction right there in the middle with the 7 candles. That is the foundation of the Nguzo Saba in Swahili. It is the 7 principles of the African principles and heritage and traditions. And the books, all these books you see here, they are about the contributors to African American history, and they go from contributors who have passed on to contributors who are still with us. This side I have the males, and over there I have the ladies. So if you want to donate some books about the ladies, I need some more books about the ladies. But as Brian mentioned, also on the foundation, you see these fabrics. Everything means something. The fabrics are African fabrics. This is many of you may not know. This one here is called mud cloth, and it has some African masks on them and African symbols. And the black and the red ones are just African pieces. I've used them before in like little fashion shows that I would have the children to dress up in the fashions so that the teachers or whoever was watching us could get ideas for what they could wear to the Kwanzaa. What I'm wearing today, something similar to this. And this is considered one of the kente cloth, which is the kente fabric in Africa denoted a king. So royal families wore the kente. And the other artifacts, this is a cane that my husband purchased in Newport, Rhode Island, where we relocated from. It was at an African gift shop on Thames Street. We went there. Well, he went without me. I didn't know he was going. He went there one day and he purchased that, and I loved it when he brought it home. And the next time we went down on Thames Street, the place was gone. The shop was no longer there. So I cherish this cane as it reminds me of my deceased husband. And on this side over here, Brian was talking about Nubi and was intrigued by the story. This is the actual wood carving of a baby in the embryonic stage of his birth inside his mother's womb. When you go to see how the baby is doing and a sonogram is done, well, Mr. West Marshburn, he was a wood craftsman, and he felt led to carve that sonogram picture and make it into a piece of this is a wooden crafts. What do you call it? Like a
sculpture?
Yes, wood sculpture. That's exactly what it is. And at that time, Alternative Avenues, which is my nonprofit, was called the Newport Black Ensemble Theater. Later, we changed the name, but we call this statue Nubi because it is reflective of the Newport Black Ensemble Theater. And Nubi gets to go whenever we're doing an event and remind us of that very important history. Mr. Washburn was is an ancestor now, and that was very important to us. Any wicker or baskets that you see around the room, that is reflective of the African tradition of their excellent craftsmanship. And in this case, this basket represents the foundation that the mkeka, the candle holder, must sit on a foundation of this type to represent the earth. So that basket is there, and that basket is over there. And this is the Unity Cup. And the Unity Cup represents, of course, all of us coming together and celebrating in unity, all ages. The African and African American culture is what we're teaching about, but we want to make it clear that we welcome people from all ethnic backgrounds, because we want to learn about each other so that we can respect one another. So we welcome everyone, and when we're having a celebration, during the first part of the celebration, we would take the Unity Cup and it would be filled with water or a juice, and it would be shared. But before sharing, we would honor the ancestors, those from long time ago, and also those who have recently passed. And we have a special concern in our hearts today for those who have gone on because of COVID. And so what we would do is this cup would be filled, and it would be poured from south, and I'm not sure if I'm doing it wrong, north, or you do it like that, and you go around, you pour it.
So the four directions.
The four winds.
The four winds.
The four winds, yes. And you share it from the south, north, east, and west. And that way we honor, and the drums would be playing, and I love the drums. We're gonna have some drums. We're gonna have some drums. And this particular photograph right here is very important because it was the first Kwanzaa celebration that I was able to do for a full community, and the media was there in Newport, Rhode Island. And this picture ended up on the cover of the Newport Daily News and the Providence Journal and all the papers. And that was me, and I was in character. One of my character is Mama Katia, and that name means child of wisdom. And these young ladies, and that's my daughter Maria Kenyatta's arm right there. But they had a singing group, outreach singing group from church, and they called themselves Children of the King. And that was Morgan, who's a preacher now. And this is Nakenji. I think Nakenji lives in California now. And of course you see the Kanara there with the candles. And we were singing, and I was doing my story thing. And so that's history for us. And over here, this is important because it has all of the 7 principles listed on here, which we're going to be studying.
Yeah, I think we studied the other day. Just the other day we did.
And it has the Nguzo Saba set up there. So we keep that in the touring museum. And what else? This was an award for summer excellence, and it was presented to the Newport Black Ensemble Theater for outstanding performance, and it was given us by the U.S. Department of Labor for all the things that we do in the community. So these are things that you pass down to your children. These are things that help promote generational wealth. So that's what we're trying to do with Kwanzaa. This is another, of course you guys know who this is. That's Dr. King. And this is, we call him Uncle Freddie. Frederick Douglass. And Frederick Douglass is a very primary contributor to African American history.
Absolutely.
And this book here is filled to the tippity top with characters like Dr. King and Miss Rosa Parks and others. This book is full of them. And this right here, this is the shot. I think this was done in 2004, the year just before, during the year before we relocated from Newport, Rhode Island to Charlotte. And my group and my touring ensemble were invited to go to a library in North Kingstown, I think it was. And of course we were doing the Nguzo Saba, and it was me and my master drummer, Matt Maloney, we call him Matty, and this is Abigail Jefferson. She is my sister in crime. There's Abigail over there. And she is a success story. She just kicked cancer.
Amen.
And she's a wonderful drummer and storyteller, dancer. And we teamed up and we did the Kwanzaas and we did other touring. And these babies, this little girl now is, I guess she's maybe about 19 or 20. But they were all with us doing this Nguzo Saba, the candle lighting and everything. And this was taken, and someone did a collage of the photos. And so I have it now as my my master, what do you call it? Marquee? That'd be a good name for it. Absolutely. So, and these things over here, musical pieces. This was the T-shirt that we used at the first Kwanzaa that we did. That goes with that picture over there. And this T-shirt has everything that we had in the program. I think it's actually a copy of the program. Brian, I didn't talk to you about these things earlier, but these things are very important. Well, this is a lamination of the Emancipation Proclamation, which there's a lot of controversy over that now, but it means a lot to me. When the slaves were given their freedom, it was signed and by President Lincoln and so forth. And of course, the Manumissions Papers was what our ancestors had to have their Manumissions Papers on them personally when they were walking around or they would be in big trouble. And this one was, I'm not going to lift it up, it was a bill of sale if that one of them were fortunate enough to be able to gain their freedom. And in this book here, Poetic Verses of America. This is a book that published Maria Kenyatta, my daughter. She's a member of this church here, sings in the choir here. Her first publication. So this book is very important. She will want to tell her son about that.
Absolutely.
So this museum represents passing all things that are important down to the children and having them to be a part of that stuff. This one here, I don't know if many of you have heard of Nina Simone. She's a very, very important historical figure of singing about the struggle. Fabulous singer. That's Nina Simone. So pretty much that's what we have here today.
And what I'm excited about, Paula, is that I believe we're going to have all this set up on the 29th. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so folks, come back over here in the middle next to Newbie, would you?
Yes, please come.
Or you come over next to Newbie with me for a second.
Tell everybody about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell everyone about it. And what I love about this, and I'm going to speak from my own perspective for a moment, because how else can we speak? We had photos maybe on the mantle or on the wall, and there would be stories told. I think we all have that in our background. But I think something that we learn, and I'm learning from the Kwanzaa celebration in particular in African American culture, is just being really intentional about we have to remember these people, what they've done. We have to keep a hold of the people who are important in our own lives, and what I hear what you're saying,
yes.
And to not allow them to be forgotten, right. So those lessons can continue, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
To add to that is that, unfortunately, in history, the media and those who did not have the African Americans' interest at best in heart. They've told the wrong stories. The wrong stereotypes, the wrong perceptions have been developed. So we have a responsibility to tell our own stories, our own truths. And so that's why all of these documentations are so very, very important. And to share them with people who will listen.
Absolutely.
And who will help us carry the story.
Love it. So thank you for sharing with us, and
Okay.
we'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see you on the 29th, because here comes the Shabazz family. We're going to do some filming with them right
Yes,
now, and you'll see
indeed.
them soon. All right.
Love you.
Thank you.